Well, they say it's all in the preparation. I have prepared that baseboard for staining. I'm still not very good at it. Here's the last one I did. Let's see if you can see it. I did that one over there. The little tiny one. That one is the best one yet. And then this one. Show with the cord. I'm holding a bright light here. That one, not so good, but it'll do. Okay, all the faffing about is done. I've put off assembling James's bed almost as long as I can. A little bit more. There's the bit where I talk to you about my office first. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to redo my office. We've just come back from another trip to IKEA where we didn't buy anything, but we measured things and we checked things out that are available. And we have a plan. So here's how it's going to work. All right, you see the bookshelves there? Now these are the bookshelves I used to have in the room, and this is where they're going to go now. Now you can see this big gap in between. We are buying a 15-inch IKEA bookshelf, same color, same number of shelves, and also the extension there on the top, that last section. And we're going to mount that in at a 45-degree angle between there. And that's going to create a corner unit, and that's going to give me more book space. And then I'm going to have that small one where it is, and you can see the light switch is accessible from on top of it. So that's good. Now, coming over here to the next side, we are going to buy another one of the tall units and extension, and we're going to mount it there next to it. So that's going to significantly increase the amount of bookshelf space that I have. I really can't go much further because of the electrical outlet that's there. So that'll get me to about right about here. And that will be a lot of bookshelves. And I'm going to use that probably as a backdrop for shooting video as well. So I have like my sort of learned book corner. And then I still have one more small bookshelf there, which I'm going to put here on this wall as you come in. So that's going to be that side of the room. And then swinging around this way, over there, I'm going to get a standing desk that raises and lowers. So it's standing or sitting desk. And I'm going to put it there in the corner of death, where hopefully, after I put a rock out front, no one will ever drive through again. And that'll be it. And then we'll see if we can't keep this room a little clearer than it used to, although I suspect the bicycles will still probably have a home there in front of the bookshelves. So now that I know where these shelves are going, I know that I can't bolt them in place yet, which means I can't load them up, which means I'm done working in here, which means it's time to start assembling James's bed. But let's go take a look at his room first. Now, down here at the end of the hallway is where James's room is, and he's in here making noise. So I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do in here. All right, this is his not very reorganized room, but we have stripped his old bed out, and we're going to install the new bed there, which we're going to start working on right now.
What?
And hopefully that'll give him a bed, cabinets, and a desk all in that corner so that he can study all the time. Won't that be fun, James?
No.
Well, we've got 6 main boxes here on the bed. This is boxes 1 and 2 that builds that gray part. So 1, 2. And we're going to put them together here. That's not that big. So I'm going to do it in this room, and then we'll take it into James's room. I'm not going to bother doing like a time lapse or anything of me building it, because why should you look at my blood pressure just go up? No reason at all. It's day 2 of James sleeping on the floor. Let's go wake him up. Come on. It'll be fun.
I know, I was awake. I just can't move because my feet are stuck. There we go.
What are you doing sleeping over there? Oh, it's not exactly done. I mean, it's done, but now I've got to build, let's see, drawers to go in there. And in here, there's cabinet doors and coat hanger rack. But it's sleepable, and we've already put his mattress in it. And I've had enough for the day. Wow, these are pain. Clever, but a pain. Okay, we're putting James to bed, and this is his first night sleeping in his new bed. So, here he comes. This time it's for real.
So hard.
They were test goes earlier, but this time he's going in it for bed. Nice angle there, James. Now, of course, the bed is filled with animals and sheets and stuff.
Fight.
All right, bud. Good night. Yeah. Got your nose? Top of your head. Good brachiosaur noise. All right, get some sleep, pal. Scoop him in. Say goodnight to James, Mom. He's over here. Okay, it's going to be an interesting day today. Had a bit of a rough night last night. Got James's bed done enough for him to sleep in, and he did sleep in it last night. And there's still some things to be done. I have to build the drawers for the desk, and I had to put the doors onto the closet component, which when I got home here before everybody else, I did the doors today. So when they get home, that'll be taken care of. And I am off to see Power of the Daleks at a movie theater at 7 o'clock. And it's across town, rush hour. So I'm heading out of here around 5 to make sure I have time to eat and that sort of thing. So here's why I had a rough night. When we put the bed together. Well, all right, let's spiral that back 40 plus years. When I was a kid, every night when my dad was home, which wasn't every night, because I was raised by my grandparents and my dad lived at his work during the week. But when he was home on the weekends, he would always cover me up at night. And how he would do that is he would grab the sheet at the base of the sheet down by my feet, and he would flip the covers up and down, kind of like you're doing a tablecloth or something where you're trying to get it to straighten out. And he would do that, and then I would count in foreign language, Spanish, Japanese, something. It was just a thing we did. He did that after he checked the closet for monsters and checked under the bed and that kind of thing. So we're early teens. No, I'm kidding. I was younger than that. But anyway, we used to do that every night when my dad was around. And after my grandfather died, then my dad stayed around all the time. So every night we did that. And eventually, I started to feel I was getting a little old for it. And I suspect my dad was beginning to think I was getting a little old for it. And neither one of us was willing to tell the other that maybe it was time to stop, because I thought it would disappoint my dad, and I'm sure my dad didn't want to disappoint me. And so this kind of continued on until it, once in a while we skipped it for whatever reason, and or it got cut down to 5 instead of 10 or 20, or and then eventually it stopped. And it occurred to me last night that childhood is a little bit like that, and it upset me, and it's likely to upset me again. That it's not that childhood ends; it's that childhood disappears in a series of 1,000 paper cuts, if you will. It's moments that just stop happening, and you don't see it until you look back and you go, wait a minute, that hasn't happened. And a prime example, it's been ages since my daughter asked me to have a tea party. Obviously she's a teenager and that's beyond it, but there would be so many times she'd ask me and I didn't have time, or I did have time, but it only holds the attention for so long, and then one day it didn't happen anymore. And you can't hoard these moments. You can't turn back time. They just end, and you don't know it. You don't know that they end until something happens. We never really did the thing. Once in a while, we did the sheet thing with James. I did it, but it never really did the same thing with him and me as my dad and I. But I always, every night when I'm home, I go in and I cover him up every night, even though he's big enough to cover himself up. He will, in fact, like hide the sheets so that I have to find them so that I can cover him up. And last night he crawled into his new bed. And we'll just walk in there and I'll show you what happened. And he crawled into his bed, and that was the moment when we realized that I can't tuck him in anymore because the bed's too big. Even I can't reach over and cover him up. And so last night was the first night and that we didn't do it. And probably the day before was the last time we ever will. It's not very often that the moments are so clearly delineated, and it turned getting his new bed from a yay happy moment to a sort of sad evening of retrospective reflection on my kids getting old. Anyway, Power of the Daleks, 50-year-old Doctor Who, the very first Patrick Troughton, the second Doctor. They have lost the episodes, and when I say lost, they destroyed them, they scumbuckets, at the BBC. But it has been completely recreated in animation with a remastered audio soundtrack from some fan who 50 years ago recorded the audio off the air. And so professionals have digitally restored the audio, and then they have used the camera scripts and stills to recreate the animation, and they've put this 6-part story back. And they released it on the BBC digital store on the 50th anniversary, which was, I think, last week. And they're going to start releasing it in the United States on iTunes, 1 episode a week for 6 weeks, starting in November, just before my birthday. And but they're having a special movie event tonight and showing it at a theater. And it's way too expensive to take the whole family. But I'm going to use some of the Patreon money that we get for the podcast, and I'm going to go see it myself. And then Simon and I are going to review it here coming up very soon. And then starting on the 19th, the kids, for the first time in their life, will get to watch a Doctor Who serial 1 episode a week for 6 weeks. That is going to be an interesting experiment. Anyway, I better get going. I'll tap in again probably closer to the theater or when I come out, because it's going to be awesome. Except it's a 6-part story and it's going to be 3 hours in the theater. It's going to be a late night. I've got 1 hour until the movie starts. Okay, well that's it. Power of the Daleks at the movie theater. I don't know if I should give a review on it or not, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I guess it's time to go do a podcast on it, but not tonight.